It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantha Tracks TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
It's May 28th. This is Good Morning Tatooine. I'm back. I'm one of the few presenters left in the UK still presenting on air this week. And we're going to have all the Star Wars news for you from this past week, courtesy of FanthaTracks.com. So what have we got in store tonight? Let's find out. First up indeed. And the graphics don't work. What a great start to the show. Let's try something else. Here we go. Natalie Portman has been talking about a possible return for Padmé. Sadly, the Ahsoka star Ray Stevenson passed away this past week. We'll be looking at the Mandalorian's Emmy submissions. Jonathan Kasdan has been talking the removal of Willow from Disney Plus. Star Wars Fan Fun Day have announced their charity earnings. We'll be discussing Fan Fun Day, and Pedro Pascal has confessed something that we probably already knew, that he isn't the body in the suit on The Mandalorian. And finally, we'll be looking ahead to New York Comic Con, where they've already announced a huge guest list, including none other than Ewan McGregor. To join me to discuss this and much, much more from FanthaTracks.com, Mr. Matt Booker.
Hello there. Good evening, Mr. Cameron.
How are you, Matt?
I'm very good, mate. You had a good week?
Quiet. It's been quiet. The news front on Star Wars has been very low since Celebration, and this was a strangely quiet week, because it was, after all, the real Star Wars anniversary this past week.
It was, but we had Star Wars Celebration, then May the 4th, fake Star Wars Day, and I think everybody blew all their news and information before then. So, yeah, it's a downish period for. There's a good bit of news out there, just not as crazy as some weeks.
I checked my emails. I didn't get a single discount code or a special promotion from anyone on the 25th. So lesson learnt for if you're a Star Wars vendor, ignore May the 4th next year. Just hold out to May 25th. You'll have the entire news agenda to yourself.
Yeah, you'll do a bit better, and people will actually be willing to spend money. Yeah. I mean, we had Regal Robot announce a new piece that they came out, but there wasn't much else announced merch-wise this week at all, really.
No.
Oh, and the Hallmark ornaments. So, yeah. Hallmark ornaments from Padmé were announced for New York Comic Con in San Diego. So they're kind of cool.
Very quiet indeed. Let's get stuck into the news that has happened this past week, and we'll look at, first up, before I sneeze, Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman, speaking with GQ magazine, got asked a question: would she return to Star Wars as Padmé? And she gave the evergreen answer, I think it is, that no one's ever asked me to return, but I'd be open to it. So she's open to getting paid to do work, as I think what we can take from that.
An actress saying, yes, I'll do some acting if you pay me. Okay. Yeah, didn't Ewan give that answer for years as well? And then he sort of came out after and said, well, I've been doing Kenobi for ages. Yeah.
Interesting she made a comment no one's ever asked her. I kind of think it might have came up in a conversation at some point between someone at Disney, Lucasfilm.
I mean, the problem is Padmé died. You know, you could do flashbacks, but I don't think it's needed with her character like you did with Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Would you like to see her back? You know, in the comic world, the Handmaidens sort of done particularly well in the Vader comic.
The Handmaidens was quite good, but it wasn't her, so it was quite good. It made a lot of sense, that story arc. I quite liked it, but yeah, I don't see the need for her to come back.
Get Keira Knightley back instead.
Yeah. That'd work. Yeah, it's somebody's always got to ask any person who's ever been in Star Wars, would you do Star Wars again? And they're going to all say yes. I think the only one who said no for years was Dennis Lawson, and then JJ got him back in for a day. So it's like, okay, fair enough.
That's very true.
And then it.
Yep. So potential, we could have Natalie Portman back. I think it's a bit of a nothing news story. It's
It's
interesting that
very,
GQ thought enough to ask a question. When you consider our body of work in terms of a Star Wars actor, actress, she's probably been, alongside Harrison Ford, one of the more successful post Star Wars careers. So surprising Star Wars even came up in the conversation, to be honest.
she's done a lot of damn good stuff. So yeah, it's an easy go-to question for anybody who's been in Star Wars, isn't it? Doesn't matter how high up they are. You're not going to ask Harrison about doing more Star Wars because he will say no, 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 and they went, "Oh, here's a truckload of money. Reverse up to your house, Mr. Ford." Okay, yeah, it's mute point. Yeah, they'll all say yes to do more work. I think pretty
If
much.
you got a second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's the kind of person you could see in a cameo. A little bit of Harrison Ford de-aging tech in there, maybe.
I don't want a second season of Kenobi. I see no point in it.
Yeah.
The story they told was a stretched out movie plot, and I enjoyed a lot of it, but bits of it just failed horribly because it was just a stretched story. So no, I don't think they need to come back and do another one. I'd rather explore different parts of the universe and galaxy and other characters and stories than the same old, same old.
Yeah. Talking about different parts of the galaxy, the other big news this week was a very sad news of the passing of Ahsoka. Actor Ray Stevenson passing away at just the age of 58 whilst working on a movie in Italy. A lot of people will know him from Punisher, Warzone and the Thor movies. He was set to star in Ahsoka, at least season 1 as well. And we're now not going to get that opportunity to see if his character progresses beyond first season.
It's a real shame, you know. A quite prolific actor, done a large body of work, but we know him for sort of the pop culture geeky stuff that we like. So yeah, it sucks. Gone too soon, really. I liked him as Garth in Rebels. I mean, I really enjoyed the series, and I like the Punisher films. I've enjoyed all of them, even the really cheesy old Dolph Lundgren one. I quite like in its own little way. But the modern era Punisher stuff's been fantastic. And yeah, it's just a shame to lose somebody, you know, not even halfway through their career as an actor. They, you know, guys like him have got many more years to go, but he's gone. So just got to move on.
Yeah. It looked like he was going to, we are going to see his work in season 1. It looks like it's going to be an interesting role. He's kind of got an orangey red lightsaber and it's got a hilt to it. We kind of see him facing off with Ahsoka. Even though he's sort of presented as a Jedi, is he going to be a teacher towards Ahsoka, or what kind of role it's going to be? We don't really know.
He might be a mentor. You never know. It may be just subterfuge in the trailer because they're good at doing that. So who really knows? No, there he is, Choker's Rebels. So he might not be.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It might be subterfuge in the trailer. Who knows? We'll wait and see. I'm really looking forward to the season though.
Yeah.
Long overdue, but yeah. We need to see the space whales and lots of other bits, you know. And there's David Tennant. Isn't that brilliant?
See, you guys that are in animation have got a lot more insight into the likes of Ahsoka than I do.
We follow all the stories, Brian, not just some of them.
Just follow some of them. Here's a I nearly hit the ban button there, but I didn't. Mr. Newbold in the comments, my cursor hovered over ban.
Yeah.
Another animation fan. So he'd done voiceover work as well on Rebels and Clone Wars, so people are familiar with his contributions to Star Wars that have seen the animation as well.
Yeah.
And Ahsoka's going to be very heavy on the harking back to what we've seen in animation before as well, because obviously that's where
there's a lot of stuff from. Yeah. We've got Chopper, we've got Sabine, we've got Hera. You know, we may get some of the others. They're bringing in Thrawn, which is a character straight out of the cartoon series and some books a few years ago, but they're not canon anymore, so it doesn't matter. No, they're tying a lot of stuff together beautifully. And it seems like there was an interview I saw with Filoni, and he says he's been seeding stuff in to different things. You could go back and rewatch a lot of the older stuff and see it come to fruition now. He's had a long game plan, Filoni. He's written stuff like George did. I think I'm hoping it was George who taught him, but what he's learned, the way George used to do stuff was write stuff along and then tie it in over the years. and I've got a lot of faith in what he's doing. Really have.
Yeah. Mr. Newbird there said he believes Tennant won a daytime Emmy for his character, which is a brilliant lead into the next news story. It's almost as if that was a planted comment, but I can genuinely say that it wasn't, because the next news story is about Emmys, and
Yeah.
The Mandalorian has put forward what it or Lucasfilm has put forward what they consider should be Emmy nominations, and I always find it interesting because it's a bit of a reflection on what the production company likes about its series, and I wonder sometimes how it aligns with what we as fans like. So I'm going to go through the nominations with you, Matt.
Right.
We can skip past the first one because outstanding drama series. Basically, all the producers and executive producers on that list. I think universally across the board, Star Wars fans would agree that the third series of The Mandalorian isn't deserving of an outstanding drama series.
No.
People had highs and lows in it, but I don't think across the board for an 8-episode series it wasn't good enough to receive that kind of award.
It didn't punch its weight from the first 2 seasons. The one that really spins off to me, you've got the story coming later on, but on the right-hand side, the second category down, no.
Lead actor in a drama series, Pedro Pascal.
Lead voice actor in a drama series,
can you get that for a voice actor in a live action?
Yeah, no. Don't agree with that one.
Directing for a drama series, they've gone as their top nomination is the 7th episode, which was the episode shown during Celebration. Which was
that was a crap.
The second to last episode of the series, and I think everyone would agree that was like a mini movie. It was a phenomenal piece of Star Wars work.
Yeah. And the last one was a bit of a damp squib in some respects.
Yeah. Interestingly, omitted completely from the directing list is the final episode. Writing for a drama series, again, they've gone with the 7th episode.
Yeah.
Interestingly as well, they've also put through Noah Clure, who's been doing some of the writing duties as well, alongside Jon Favreau on the series as well. He gets his nomination for his work in the 3rd episode. Lead actress in a drama series, Katie Sackhoff, put forward for that.
Very well, lounging on a chair.
Yep. How'd you make a giant chair? How do you fill a giant chair? Lounging it was the theory there. Supporting actor and actress Carol Weathers and Emily Swallow. I think they did decent in the roles. I think that's more a respect thing that they're getting put forward for the nomination for that. Yeah. Guest actor in a drama series. Ahmed Best in there.
Jack Black playing Jack Black. Great. Love Jack Black. Love Jack Black to bits, but no.
Guest actress in a drama series as well. Lizzo's in there. I think most people would disagree with that. I think, a lot of that is, are we going to nominate just everybody that was guest actors in the series?
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting.
Character voice performance. Well, why is Pedro not there?
That's where he should be, yeah. But instead, I've got my fellow Scot, Shirley Henderson, for the Zillions crew.
Lovely lady. We interviewed her at the episode 9 premiere, I think. Yeah, Mark and I interviewed her. Yeah. And we didn't have a clue who she was. We were asking the people next to us, who the hell was that? And they're like, oh, it's Shirley Henderson. We're like, oh, what's she doing? We said, I interviewed her. We're like, so what do you do then? And we kind of worked out who she was. Babu Frick. Oh, okay. Yeah, we know nothing about that character. She's, I've not even seen it either yet. So, yeah. But she's fantastic. The character is fun. The whole race are just fun comedy characters who are a bit bonkers, and I liked them.
Sarah Holly Finn gets a nomination for casting for the series.
Casting Jack Black.
I think it's an odd pick because when you've got a series that's had this kind of controversial group of cameos in it, it's hard to then say that the casting's been great, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't...
Mark just chiming in there to say the interview was at the Rise of Skywalker blue carpet in 2019.
That's the one.
Yep. Cinematography, they've gone for the 4th episode at the top. Also, David Klein as well gets a nomination for the 7th episode.
I'd nominate David Klein. He used to be Kevin Smith's DP of cinematography and worked on Mallrats and Clerks and Chasing Amy and stuff. And
okay, didn't realize that.
Old school. Oh yeah. He's gone very far in his career and is absolutely fantastic. Really got an eye for it.
And there's also nominations for the costume and character hairstyling and makeup as well. The music gets a nomination. Joseph Shirley for the finale, Ludwig Göransson as well, for Across the Series. And single camera picture editing for a drama series. I've gone with the finale for that one with Jeff Seibenik as well. And I just, the finale just didn't sit well with me at all.
It was all right, but it didn't deliver the punch that the first 2 season finales delivered, did it?
No. And
it was a Game of Thrones season ender, wasn't it? The penultimate episode was the good one.
Absolutely. And we've also got nominations for production design and sound editing as well.
Yeah. Our buddy David Collins and Matt Wood in there.
Yep. And last group of nominations as well for the sound mixing on the series. The special effects, which I think there's a good chance because there was some pretty impressive stuff in there for hour-long TV. Stunt coordination as well is in there, and the stunt performance as well.
Yeah. The special effects were outstanding in this season. They really were. The land Godzilla creature that they fought against in the land yacht boat thing with the pirates looked amazing. Yeah. There was some really good looking stuff. Bo-Katan's Island where she lived looked, it was all CGI, wasn't it? There was no real footage using that, was there, Brian? That looked brilliant. Bo-Katan down.
Jack mentioned in the comments there that there's always going to be a difficult ending to Series 3 after the ending of Season 2. He still enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. It just was a bit of a whimper.
Yeah. Mark Newbold, there's some very impressive VFX in there for sure. I forget what episode it was, but it was early in the series, the one with the giant winged dinosaur that stole the child. There's a lot of really quite special VFX in that, I think.
Yeah. And smooth. Nothing stood out this season at all. It all was very believable. Good.
Jack as well pointing out we saw the legendary beast as well.
Yeah.
Mythosaur.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool.
That was a very nicely handled sequence. So yeah, there's definitely potential for an Emmy win or 2 in there, I would think, but not as many as what they're considering.
3 big creatures this season, wasn't it? It was very creature centric.
Yes, it was kind of like
places.
Attack of the Dinosaurs at points, I think.
Yeah. And then you had another dinosaur in the episode with Jack Black, where you had,
That's not a nice way to describe Elizabeth.
She wasn't the villain. I meant Christopher Lloyd. You see, the Jack Black episode was all right. The planet and the design of it was gorgeous. But playing croquet with bugs was a bit weird. And I wouldn't have minded if it had been 1 cameo in that episode, but chucking 3 in was a bit much. It took you out a bit too much. Oh my God, there's Jack Black. Oh my God, there's Liz. Oh my God, there's Christopher Lloyd. And you're like, yeah, you put too much into one.
Elliot saying there, and something I actually agree with, it was a super inconsistent season. He liked the Pershing episode best, as it made it a little bit more like Andor, the new standard for these types of seasons. I kind of agree. I loved that kind of like little drift away that they did in that episode. Kind of disappointed that they didn't go back to it later in the series. It kind of sat on its own a little bit. Yeah.
That needed some more story arc telling to it, and it missed it completely. We didn't go back there at all, did we? I don't think.
No, they kind of hinted at it maybe with the Moff Gideon kind of stuff a little bit, but
the Moff Gideon clones and mustache, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Newbold also chimed in. Regal Robot showed us more of the Mythosaur.
Yes, they did. They did indeed.
You can order. There's just recently out from Regal Robot, I do believe.
Yep.
Mythosaur magnet skull and fully formed.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, something that appears to not have had any Emmy nominations. Fairly, maybe. Willow.
No.
On Disney Plus, the news came out a couple of weeks ago that Willow was going to be removed from Disney Plus after just 6 months, and Jonathan Kasdan sort of chimed in on Twitter, and it's been something a little bit controversial on Twitter. I think people haven't necessarily reacted to it with much love.
Controversy on Twitter, isn't that what it's for?
Yeah, that's what it's for. It's for
feeding
the hate. Feed the hate. Stir it more.
Playground of social media.
He pointed out that he grew up at a time when Disney movies were periodically re-released and not available to own, and for him that kind of made it special. He's worried about many things, but none of them are whether Willow will ever be available again, either on Disney Plus or perhaps somewhere else. And you never know where that could lead. Stranger things have happened. So grateful for all the love and enthusiasm. It's truly what keeps these worlds alive. And I think he's trying to make the point that if Disney go out there and they sell Willow to, let's just say, Amazon, and it kicks off very well on Amazon, does good numbers on Amazon, and Amazon get interested in reviving it for a second series,
well, you think that
things have happened.
Yeah, but TV shows have finished on regular TV and then got picked up another season by Netflix or Amazon or, Neighbours. How long did that run in this country? Most of Yours and My Life. And now Amazon have picked up and doing more seasons of it.
Yeah. I'll point out one in the realm of science fiction as well. Stargate, SG-1, moved platforms numerous times throughout its life.
Yeah. I think it's actually a window of opportunity for Willow.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I think that's what he was trying to reach for.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people dislike the fact that because they can't buy it on physical media, that they've now lost ownership to it. But that's what torrents are for. Controversial. But no, that's the way of the world. If you don't get physical media anymore because you're paying for a streaming service, the streaming service is going to add and remove things to make you subscribe or resubscribe. At a later point, they're going to tease you back onto the platform.
Was Willow 100% owned by Disney, though, from the Lucasfilm buyout?
Yes.
It was. It was 100% Lucasfilm, okay. I was wondering if it was like co-owned by somebody else, like Universal or somebody. I can't remember who put it on. Yeah.
So it's definitely theirs, and I think it's there to be sold as a package movie and TV series to another platform.
Yeah, go for it. If somebody else wants to pick on with it and make some money out of it, and I think Disney's problem is they've got their business model hasn't worked as well as they hoped.
Yeah, Mr. Newbird asking the question there: could there be a future for it somewhere else? But will Lucasfilm be involved? I would be surprised if Lucasfilm are involved in anything other than Star Wars in the future. That includes Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I'd say with Willow, they would probably, if somebody else was wanting to get the project going, Kasdan would probably be the man to do it. Maybe. You'd carry on with the same cast because it's the right age point. He's probably already got a season 2 loosely plotted out, I would have guessed.
Yeah.
In where they're going with it. But coming out of lockdown and making as many TV shows as possible as quick as possible, not everything's going to hit the biggest numbers, Yeah.
And it would have been, because of the complications of COVID, it would have been an expensive series to make.
Horribly
profitability would have been hard to achieve, and obviously it hasn't. Yeah. So they're going to try and make money from it by selling it to someone else. And the best way to get the best price for it is to sell it before too many people have seen it, because then there's still value to it.
Yeah, new markets,
Jack mentioned there, did you see the mention about the possibility of a TV series for Indy? I did. I think they're suggesting that because that's the only avenue they can see potentially going. I don't know what you do, because the world of indie's so full. If you've never seen the Young Indie Adventures, people will see that on Disney Plus. Apart from if you're in the UK, you'll have to go across to Apple TV to get that. The timeline for indie's pretty packed as it is, you know, especially in his sort of young teen years.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was on Apple TV. I missed that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Select episodes, I would suggest. It's what's on Apple TV is more along the lines of what they released as DVDs, which isn't everything, and slightly modified, edited versions of some of it. If you're a purist like me, it's very difficult to get what is the genuine Young Indiana Jones Adventures, because some of it was aired on TV different from what it appeared on home media. It gets very complicated.
I had all the VHS releases when they came out, and when I transitioned over to DVD, I started selling my VHSs, and I found my Young Indie VHSs worth a fortune. I got like 40, 50, 60 pounds upwards for the VHSs. Yep. And I'd watched them all 3 or 4 times, so I just sold them and spent it on something else.
There you go. That's how to make content. People can't do that anymore because you don't get physical content. There you go.
No.
Can't sell your Netflix password anymore.
No, can't do that.
Can't do that. Can't leave the house. All these terrible, terrible, bad people sharing passwords. Shocking. Who would have thought of such a thing?
What, and set accounts on Netflix? Yeah, well done.
Yep, definitely. I don't even know what Mr. Newball's asking here. They keep changing the name of it, which doesn't help. Oh, Young Indie.
I crashed.
Oh, that's what he's on about. Heading back across to the news front, Star Wars Fan Fun Day happened two weekends ago. We were both there. The charity aspect of it, incredibly successful, raising £7,630 for the weekend, which is an incredible success for Neil and Paul and the rest of their team there. I think your camera's frozen, Matt, so I'm going to kick you out. If you sign back in, I'll come. Can you hear me on life. I can hear you. Your camera's just gone. I'll kick you out. Come back on, and we'll join again. And here we go. He's coming back on now. There we go. Like magic. Look at that. Beautiful. That's technology live. Yeah, Star Wars Fun Day.
Still not working, is it?
Yeah, and it's just froze. I'm going to leave it now at that perfect picture because I can hear you.
Brilliant.
We'll just carry on like that for the rest of the show. It's brilliant.
That's fantastic. I'm Dad's this weekend on the coast, so the internet's not as good here. So I can't look at that.
He's gone again. We'll get him back. But yeah, Star Wars Fun Day was 2 weeks ago. Delighted to have been there. Very honoured. Panther Tracks were given a little trophy of thanks for our support for the event over the years, which was very humbling indeed. But a fantastic contribution to the charities from the event. Well, over 7,000 and fantastic local charities, and all down to the hard work of what Neil and Paul and all their team do every single year. And it's the best event if you want a chance to speak to some of the Star Wars personalities. Because one on the Saturday night dinner with the stars, where you have a celebrity Star Wars guest at your table, and the following day you've got the chance to speak to them at great length as well if you're getting a signature or a photo. And we had a great guest on the Saturday night at our Panther Tracks table, didn't we, Mark?
Yeah, she was bidding on auctions and everything. Absolutely fantastic night. Yeah. She had a bottle of red to herself. I had the bottle of white wine. Absolutely phenomenal. The rest of you were drinking beer and stuff, and we were like, "No, it's free wine. We'll drink that." No, it's every year we've done it. You know, we've been going. Gosh, Mark will tell us, he remembers the numbers, but I reckon I've been 7 or 8 times to that event, and it really is phenomenal.
Yeah, if you think Jack there at the event as well, he loved the event as well. So it's good to see him there.
Great to see lots of friends coming up with him. Guys we know from the Denmark, people coming in from Germany. There's people there from Cornwall and stuff. You know, the farthest reaches of the world.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun event. The sci-fi event we used to put in my town was very similar in that kind of vein. It was a small little event, but punched way above its weight. Yeah, go VIP next year, Brian. You can have a table with Brian. He'll be your special guest on your table.
There you go. But yeah, hats off to them for the show they put together. It's not easy. They make it appear easy. But no, we're going to throw that one up there. Mark Newbold chiming in and say it's since 2014, but I'm throwing that up there just because you can't spell.
He's drunk.
And he only missed them due to COVID. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. And a Taylor Swift concert we had tickets for or something, I think.
Yeah, with Taylor Swift one year, that was the best year.
That was fantastic. We think it was there. We were told it was by somebody.
Definitely. Heading on to news of more people who aren't really there for they say they are. The Mandalorian and Pedro Pascal admitted in an interview something that's like confessing. It's like Philip Schofield confessing to something that we all know. That's linking to the current news of the day. Oh dear, that's allegedly. We better add in there.
Yeah.
See today's newspapers, blame them for my joke.
Yeah. Pedro came out of the room cupboard.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Poor Gordon.
Yeah. Oh.
So he admitted that it's not him on set, that he couldn't cope with the physicality involved in wearing the bodysuit. So they worked out a way where he didn't have to do much of the suit work in the earlier season as it's gone on. He's not been there present on set. He adds his voice on later. And he's happy. Yeah. He's happy. Lucasfilm are happy.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know where the criticism is.
It's not is it? Come on, we had the same with Darth Vader. We had the same with Boba Fett. They've all had different people under the suits.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in a costume. Well, you really fit in that. You're right, the right height. Yeah, in you go, love.
Yeah.
It's
on the rare occasion where he's going to have to take his helmet off, he's going to appear on set and do those roles. Other than that, he's going to provide a voice.
He's got very popular, and you don't put a popular actor under the helmet. You know, you get somebody else to do it. Stallone did all of Judge Dredd film, and look where that worked out. You know, Carl came along and did the new Dredd film and never took the hat off, and he was bloody fantastic. But Pedro's in demand. The ladies love him.
Yeah.
You know?
And The Last of Us, loving The Last of Us. So he's been able to make that alongside making The Mandalorian.
It was the same story as Mandalorian season 2, but had a little girl instead of Grogu, and it was zombies instead of space. Fine. No, he's an in-demand actor. If he can get away with doing it, the character's written that way. That's the thing. It's Latifah Crown and Brendan Wayne doing most of the heavy lifting on that.
Yeah, as Mr. Newbold chimes in the chat there, absolutely no surprise. Almost all the masked characters are a team effort. It's very, very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's all we've got to say on The Mandalorian. It's not big news, I don't think. Much like the Natalie Portman news that we kicked off the show with. It's just to be expected at this point. So that's the Star Wars news of the week. We can look ahead to coming up later in this year with New York Comic Con. Tickets are on sale very, very soon. I think it's June.
Next week? Yeah, next couple of weeks they go on sale.
Yep. Different stages depending on your standing with New York Comic Con, i.e. previous attendance and whether you paid subscribers to various things. And
yeah.
La-di-la-di-la. Go to their website, figure it out yourself because it's complicated.
This will be my 11th one if I go. Yep. I really enjoy it. It's a good, fun, enjoyable show. Got to meet some amazing stars there. You know, we've all been as a team many a time in different iterations. Mark and I did it last year. It was about 6 of us went. Well, when you in it, 5 of us. Yeah, had a whole house to stay in. It was just an absolute hoot. It's a really good fun show. A great city. If you're in the UK and you want to go to an American show, this is the one I'd suggest to go to. Because New York is a tourist city, the accommodation is cheap and affordable, flights aren't crazy coin. You know, the first time I did it, I went for a week and it was 666 quid for a flights and hotel for a week. It's more than that now, but it's still, compared to everyone going to San Diego, I'd always say go to New York.
Yep.
Living on this side of the world, it's, you know, oh, Chris Evans. Yeah, Chris Evans there. You see, I saw Chris Evans at, God, the year Walking Dead Season 2 started and they did the Avengers trailer in that smaller hall in the middle. We went to that and all the Avengers cast came out and saw Ruffalo for the first time on stage and all the rest of it. It was great. You get good names there. Yes, it hasn't got a hall as big as Hall H at San Diego, but there's a new building on the north side of the Javits. Every year I go, they've done something else to the Javits. It keeps evolving and changing. But there's a massive stage up there now. Mark and I went for the Oscar Isaac panel, and that was absolute cracking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great venue.
So, New York Comic Con coming to us 12th to 15th of October. Hugh McGregor, the big headliner there in the Star Wars world. Katie Sackhoff, Simon Kasdan, Mercedes Leonardo, Ron Perlman, Ashley Eckstein, Matt Lantner, and D. Bradley Baker, all on the list announced so far. And I suspect many, many, many more names to come. I noticed Star Wars, is that Star Wars Autograph Universe amongst the sponsors down the bottom there as well?
Yes, it is.
Which I'm just looking at, I'm thinking, and they must be involved in organising some of the Star Wars signing guests, so maybe there'll be some more.
There last year, and they took Latifah Crown and Brendan Wayne there last year, I think.
Yeah.
In the lower floor, they had all the signings down the middle. Next to the Artist Alley, which if you're a comic fan, Artist Alley is the best place to go to because you can get hundreds of comics signed by all the best people. Yeah. If you're a comic, unlike Brian, who likes collecting them and not having them signed and scribbled on.
No, I get the awkward point where you can buy it from one of the artists because they've got a special on and they sign it in front of you. Then you have to ask them for a copy that's not signed as well.
Yeah,
because you know,
don't ruin
it. John Taylor Christopher once, and he knew, and he called me out on it. He called me out because you didn't want me to sign it, did you? And I go, no, I didn't. I had to admit. That awkward confessional moment. And let's look at that is the news this week. It's not a Star Wars heavy news, and on social media, there's not been much happening either.
A friend of mine found a new T-shirt in Sainsbury's with Grogu on it. Woo. That was about it.
That was about it. And
a shop down in Worcester. I posted it on Instagram and Facebook. There's a shop down on South Coast-ish way that reopened Jedi Archive store or something, and that looked kind of cool.
Yeah. We'll call it there. Artist Alley at New York Comic Con, one of the best parts of the show. One of the few shows that still truly does an Artist Alley how it was originally kind of envisioned as the pure artist work.
Yeah, I mean, even year one of that show with Big Kev, when I did it with him and the Big Kev's Geek Stuff crew, it was a hodgepodge little show. It was the south end of the building, tiny little venue, part of the, and it was great. And the artist lineup there was fantastic because Marvel and DC Comics were at the time both completely based in New York. And a lot of the artists back then worked in-house. They actually went to work to the Marvel offices or DC offices and worked there on boards there. And that's evolved and changed over the years with, globalization, and you've got a scanner at home and you can scan the art in and send it to your editor and stuff. But yeah, it's still a fantastic show. Not many artists back then sent work in. But I went to DC's head offices when Frank Miller was doing Dark Knight Strikes Again with the DC editor. And he's like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm going to open the post. Can you guys wait outside? Me and my mate waited outside. I'm like, what's going on? And we went in and he's like, right, you can see this page, but you can't see the rest. That'll spoil the rest of the story for you. And we were holding original Frank Miller pages. We're like, this is awesome. Way before camera phones, all the rest of that. And it's evolved, but New York still holds true to the roots that it is a Comic-Con. Yeah. Unlike a lot of shows in the UK that call themselves Comic-Con, we've got one guest who's done a comic selling on Etsy, and that's it. It's just become the catch-all name for any event with some people in costume and a couple of silence from a TV show or something. Yeah, so, totally. And New York really does punch its weight. It's a very, very good one. Weird that ReedPop, who run it, have announced guests so early, don't you think, Brian?
Very odd. Very surprising. Very organised.
Yeah. Couldn't do that for Star Wars Celebration, could we?
Yeah. Captivated crowd at Star Wars Celebration. You see New York Comic Con, you're appealing to a much wider fan base than just one franchise.
It was very busy last year, though. It was a good number, good turnout.
Yeah. It was the year we met David Tennant just walking about New York randomly.
We did in triple denim.
Triple denim, that's right.
It was.
Yeah, if you're going to go undercover in New York, triple denim, no one's going to look your direction, is what he thought.
Yeah. Like, holy, that wasn't. Yeah, it was. Oh, right, hello. Yeah, bizarre. Walking through Times Square, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And then we checked on his Instagram, and his wife's Instagram had him doing a Scottish jig or something. I seem to remember.
Yeah, it was something weird going on there. It wasn't getting his photograph taken with the fake Mickey Mouse.
No, you tried though, didn't you?
Scammers. I like scamming scammers.
Yeah, you took all the CDs off the men trying to promote their music and stuff. You loved it.
Yeah. And Mr. Newbold predicting a good show for 2023.
Decent lineup, yeah.
Yep. I think on that news, that's a week covered. Thank you, Matt, for joining me this week on Good Morning Tatooine. I'll be back next week, where I believe Mr. Mark Newbold's going to be joining me. We'll be discussing all the Star Wars news from this coming week, if there is any. Let's fingers crossed there is something exciting to discuss. Meanwhile, keep your eyes on FanthaTracks.com for all the Star Wars news, and on our social media at FanthaTracks. And thank you all for your comments during the show, and we'll be back next Sunday, live at 9 p.m.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at FanthaTracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow FanthaTracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live shows.